When we go to a gym, the Y, to an athletic club or health club to work out, there are several different equipment options and exercises at our disposal. We choose the ones that will address the areas we are trying to shape up. If we were to follow our love life each day and observe how it works out, what should it look like? We will see what it should look like. We will observe the exercises it should do regularly. Why is that important? Because the way our love works out will determine our behavior toward our spouse, children, associates at work, classmates, and social acquaintances. Each day we have choices to make in the area of love. The Apostle Paul gave us some important exercises love should do in our daily relationships. Our love's exercises should include, number one, acting kindly. In 1 Corinthians 13:4, love is very patient and kind, never jealous or envious, never boastful or proud. So Paul says love exercises by acting kindly. It stretches itself out in kindness to others. Kindness is caring for someone in the normal everyday details of life. It is keeping love fit by doing what is fitting in your relationships of life. I recall a seminary professor who shared the prayer of a little girl who prayed, "Dear God, make all bad people good and all good people nice. Love is kind. It knows what is fitting and proper and does it." For me, kindness is still opening the door for my wife after almost 50 years of marriage. It is taking the time to help a child with a math assignment even though we feel beaten down by the activities of our own day. It is listening to a person share the pain of their heart with us while waiting in a waiting room at our automobile dealership. It is giving a senior our place in a long line, though we were there first, and feel entitled to the preferred position. It is volunteering to do a favor for a neighbor without having to be asked. That's what genuine kindness is all about. It can make a difference. It can make an impact on the lives of people around us daily. A senior adult in a convalescent home would define kindness as a caring person stopping in to visit and read from an interesting book for them. A widow with no driver's license would define kindness as a friend who carries her to the store to buy her groceries. I will never forget the animation, precious smile, and cheerful thank you that I received as I finished assisting a dear lady to eat her meal in a hospital room where no one else was there to help. Small acts of kindness brighten the days of others and demonstrate the love of Christ. They give hope where hope has been dashed. They give incentive where incentive has been lost. If we think that those acts completely wipe out troubles, we are not being realistic, but they do make a difference. One act of kindness can change a person's life. That's why God says, love is kind. Kindness encourages a heart that is defeated. It lifts. It brings a hint of optimism. Ephesians 4:32 outlines how kindness works. In it we find two other exercises of love that are vital to our expressions of it. Paul said, instead, be kind to each other, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, just as God has forgiven you, because you belong to Christ. A second exercise our love should be doing is associating with the needs of others. In that previous verse, Paul used the word tender-hearted. That speaks of a kinder, sweeter disposition. That means we have to care in our own hearts about what others are facing. It means when we think of what another is going through, we are moved with compassion. A tender-hearted person wants to remove the pain and anguish of the hurting person. It is what Paul talked about in Philippians 4:2. Don't be obsessed with getting your own advantage. Forget yourselves long enough to lend a helping hand. The Bible teaches that if God's love dwells in us, that we will not shut up our compassionate side to the needs of those around us. God forgives us on the basis of grace, not on the basis of what we have done, but what He has done for us. We must be tender-hearted in view of the fact that we don't deserve His love. Neither do others have to deserve our love. A third exercise our love should be doing is agreeing to forgive others. In the Ephesians 4 passage, Paul said, "Forgiving one another." Forgiveness means we forgive other people just as God has forgiven us. It means that we act toward others like God has acted toward us in Christ. The motive that will keep us forgiving others is only that we realize how much He has forgiven us. Look at the cross as our example of a forgiving spirit. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them." What love, what grace, what an example for you and for me. When we refuse to forgive another person, we hurt ourselves more than we hurt them. It affects our walk with Christ, our fellowship with God, and it opens our lives to Satan for his entry to cause more strife in our lives than the unforgiving spirit can cause. Our daily prayer should be for God to give us the mind and heart of Christ. Then we'll realize that we have to give up all resentment toward others and allow God to deal with correcting them. Our responsibility is to forgive them as God in Christ has forgiven us. When we allow Christ to be Lord and God's Spirit to reign in our minds and hearts, we will allow Him to forgive others through us. That simplifies the task. I'm not talking about forgetting the wrong. That is not an immediate thing. That is a process. But forgiving is a choice. We can choose to forgive this very moment. When we do, our level of frustration will diminish. We will feel liberated from the shackles of an unforgiving spirit, and we will be free from the pain of resentment. Think of it this way. Would we want to meet Christ today with an unforgiving spirit in our hearts? When our love expresses itself through doing these three exercises, others will be lifted, lives will be transformed, hearts will be blessed, and we will see an incredible change in our impersonal, selfish, humanistic world. Insist that your love work out on a regular basis, and others will see the difference in the shape your love is in.